Party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. I don't know if you guys realize that today they announced the Grammy nominees. And I haven't heard yet if we're on it, but we're up for consideration. Y'all Shut Up is the number one comedy album in America. Go to watchchad.com and get it. Studio 22, party time, Mom. It is the mothership, which is just, I'm still just in a mood this week. Lisa Page made me do it. You're freezing to death over there, aren't you? We keep it cold in here, girl. Keep it cold.
68 degrees.
Yeah. Ugh, it's like 40.
This is why I'm not changing clothes all week long. Every episode we do, I'm going to wear the same sweater, same hat. I'm out of contact lenses, so I have to wear glasses. Jaco Booyens is sitting here with me in the hot seat. So Jaco and I, we look handsome together with our glasses on.
We got to match every once in a while.
Every now and then. Yeah. I mean, you're 40 pounds light, 50 pounds lighter than me, but whatever.
Who's counting?
And 2 inches taller than me, and strong and masculine and athletic. But
you can shoot.
I can shoot. I killed an elk the other day.
Yeah, I heard.
I killed a Big Daddy. Big Daddy. You know what I'm talking about?
I like it
when I say Big Daddy, Hot News Natalie just perks right up. She's like, "Who's that calling my name? Where my sugar daddy at? Party foul Steve." Of course, we got Chance the Soulless Ginger Rapper and Just In Case over there at the helm driving us into the nether regions. Jaco, I'm going to jump right into this thing. Did you foresee the insanity that we're experiencing right now with this election?
This is what I said. I said it on the news because we had mail-in ballots in 1994 in South Africa, and we literally fished ballots out of the rivers and the lakes 4 or 5 months after the election. And
really?
No joke. All the ballots that came out of the lakes were from certain communities who they just didn't want the ballots to count. So I said, this is going to be bad. This is going to be bad. Did anybody know it was going to be this bad? No, I mean, it's insanity. Yeah. It's insanity. But so did the president. 4 months ago, he said, hey, this is not good. Yeah. This is not going to be good. You know, and now we'll look into what else, right? But you said something on the show the other day. They've got to break the whole system down, right, in order to justify massive government. Because you can't save something that's functional. And this is a functional country. This is the United States of America. We can function now, okay, especially here in Texas. And you can't save something, quote unquote, that's functioning. So they got to just give you so much rope that you hang yourself, and then they say, wait, we'll ride in on a horse and come help you out.
Yeah. Because it would have to fundamentally break down everything in order to expose that level of, it would be global corruption.
Yeah. Well, look, the plan is to remove the U.S. as a superpower, the global plan. And let's not forget, there is a global plan, which these cronies and these radical leftists have bought into that global plan. I mean, they're part of that team. It's the Davos team. They're there. Yeah. So there is a bigger plan, right? But it doesn't work with the free people. It doesn't work with a free America. Yeah.
You think that they're doing everything they can to try to limit that freedom?
100%.
Yeah.
By hook or crook.
Yeah.
And then and you can show these guys evidence that they stole something, and they go, "What's wrong with that?"
Yeah.
Because we just allowed the guy to walk out of Walmart with a 72-inch flat screen TV, and nobody frowned. I mean, they wouldn't care. I mean, they play to win.
Yeah.
They play to win better than we do. They play to win a lot better than we play to win.
Because they don't care who they sacrifice.
Because we actually honor the Constitution and the rule of law. And so we play to win within construct. They go, what lines? There's no lines. It's not out of bounds. You know?
That's not coronavirus.
And I wouldn't care if it was.
I would
hug you, buddy.
You herd immunity.
Block party this week.
We're going to take a break in a minute and spit in each other's mouth.
What's that hashtag? Take a break from the lockdown.
Hashtag lockdown holiday.
That's it. That's what we're doing.
That's
Block
what we're
party
doing
this week.
We're going to have a big old Thanksgiving. We're going to have like 5 households in one place.
Do it.
I don't even know these people.
And then go to the gun range.
Hug everybody.
Come one, come all.
And we'll all go to the gun range and shoot machine guns.
It's going to be a looting, rioting experience. We're going to call it a protest, a rally with turkey.
That'll make it okay.
I'm going to eat rally turkey.
Rally turkey.
Rally turkey.
And gunpowder.
I can still taste the shot in the bird. It's going to be a fun one today. Listen, go to watchchad.com. Going to be at Kemah, Texas, Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving. Going to be a musical protest. It's going to be fun. Me and Cooper Wade. Steve Helm's going to be there with us. Party Foul Steve. Brawny Kyle will be there as well. And then we're going to be in Conroe, Lake Conroe, on Friday night, Black Friday. Come see us. You get tickets at watchchad.com. And I want to remind everybody that that's where all the fun stuff is. And go to blazetv.com/Chad and subscribe to an annual subscription of The Blaze. You don't want to miss it because they're censoring so many people, and right now is when we got to stick together. We're going to have a fun show. Bridget Phetasy is with us today, and of course more from Jaco Booyens. This year has reminded us that many things are going on, including how important it is to look after the ones that we love. The holiday season gives us, what I want you to do, I want you to give the gift of, we were talking about guns just a little while, talking about the range. Give the gift of safety and accuracy and practice. What do I mean by that? Well, the government, they can't protect you. They won't protect your family in many cases. Self-defense is your only option, and most of us don't have time to constantly train and go to the range. Ammo's really expensive. Here's what I'm talking about. iTarget Pro. They invented it using their proprietary app and laser bullets so that you can now train safely in the convenience of your own home with your actual firearm. You use iTarget Pro. It comes in all the major calibers, including .223 and .556, so you can stay sharp with almost any firearm you own. So today I'm going to get you 10% off, plus get you free shipping with the offer code CHAD. I spell it Chad at checkout. You can go to that's the letter I, targetpro.com. It's the smartest way for you to practice, and it pays for itself in just a few days. The holiday season's here, folks. Give the gift that is a bullseye. That's the letter I, targetpro.com. Use offer code Chad. Right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to the program. Listen, if you don't know who Bridget Phetasy is, you just simply have been living under a rock. You got to pay better attention. She's a good friend. She is the host of Walk-Ins Welcome as well as Dumpster Fire, and you can find her at Phetasy.com. That's Phetasy. God, I hope I spelled that right. Phetasy.com. Yeah, I think I did.
You did?
My friend, welcome to the show, Bridget Phetasy. First of all, how you holding up in all this coronavirus craziness?
I'm good. I feel like I was pretty well suited for it, being that I already worked from home at the time that this all happened, and then being in recovery.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a kind of framework around which to deal with challenges, and nothing is better than one day at a time in situations where you're uncertain. So this has been, I felt like psychologically I was pretty well prepared.
That brings up a good topic right there. Let's talk about that for a second. How long have you been sober?
I just celebrated 7 years.
7 years. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I had a dream last night, actually. It's weird when you have dreams where you're drinking, and somebody handed me a beer, and I was like, okay, I'm going to drink this like a lady, really slowly. And I decided, no, F that. I'm going to slam it so I can get the buzz. This is all in my dream.
Yeah.
And it was very, I woke up. Normally I feel guilty when I drink or use in my dreams. And I didn't at all in my dream, which was a little unsettling. I'm like, I'm getting too comfortable.
Yeah.
There was no feelings of guilt at all. Yeah, it's weird to not wake up without a hangover for 7 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, you have a dream about drinking, and then you don't have the hangover or anything else. It's sort of like one of my sex dreams. Just no ramifications to it. But I was wondering if that was making it any harder. I mean, if the temptation was easier or harder or anything like that when you're in a lockdown situation. Because let's face it, people are dealing with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of depression that's skyrocketing, suicide, abuse, all of these different things, substance abuse as well. Alcoholism is flourishing in a big way because of this stuff. Do you see an end in sight with any of this stuff that's going on?
I had a really interesting conversation with Johan Hari on Walk-Ins Welcome that will be coming out soon. And he wrote Lost Connections, which is all about a lot about loneliness. And he made a really good point that depression and addiction were already on the rise in America before COVID hit and the lockdowns hit, and that we really, and this is exacerbating a process that was already happening. And we really should take a look at what was causing the process before even the lockdowns. And people, I do say this a lot, loneliness kills. In recovery, there's this idea that, alcoholism is kind of a disease of loneliness. And I've lost a lot of friends. A lot of friends have relapsed in sobriety in the lockdowns because you don't have that face-to-face connection if you're used to going to meetings or, I definitely couldn't. My experience was not being able to get sober alone. And I've been lucky that I like the Zoom meetings. I think they're great. I like being able to kind of roll out of bed and just log in. But for a lot of people, they just don't work and they can disconnect. And I think it's easy to just drift away from that community.
That's an interesting concept to bring that up, and we'll go on to some other topics in a minute on this political thing that's going on that everybody's suffering from as well, because I think the political process in America right now is a virus in and of itself. But you know how coronavirus exacerbates the pre-existing conditions that you already have. So if you've got a lung condition, COPD, something like that, coronavirus comes in there and it really multiplies and magnifies the problem that's already there. That's the same way socially. That's basically what he was saying, is we were already on the rise in terms of addiction, alcoholism, and the depression and all these different things. And coronavirus and how we've reacted to it, whether it's the lockdowns and all of these things, is really kind of exacerbated the thing that was already, it's revealed it in a bigger way. And that's a crazy thing.
It's tragic. Yeah, it's actually, when I make a lot of jokes, obviously, I deal with, I think, a lot of things, just humor is my coping mechanism. But when I really pull out and look at what's happening, I get even emotional now. We're just losing, and people will get mad at you if you say, hey, the lockdowns are hurting people, and act like you're some kind of COVID truther. I'm like, you have to be able to say, we have to be able to hold these two thoughts at once, that yes, there is a virus. It is overwhelming our healthcare. I have family in healthcare. It's definitely real. It's not some kind of hoax.
Right.
I know people who have had it and tested positive for it. But on the other hand, these lockdowns are tragic. I don't know what's going on in some states like New York with the schools, where they're showing the science is that there's not too much of a problem at the schools, and then you have here in California, we just locked the restaurants down again, where there's really no scientific evidence that this is a place where, I think it's like way down on the list of places where there have been outbreaks, and it's usually like fast food places, the restaurants where this is happening. So I just think that on top of, and another process that was already happening that's been exacerbated by this is this erosion of faith and trust in our institutions, on top of people feeling lonely and isolated and spending too much time online and losing their minds. And then also just America's very unhealthy. We need to have a conversation about how unhealthy we are as just a society, just on a very fundamental physical level.
Yeah. I say that all the time, and people get mad at me for saying I'm fat shaming or whatever. And I'm like, I live in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, where there's 5 restaurants on every block. We're the 4th and 5th fattest place in America. I mean, we see it every day. We spend all of our time in our cars.
And you have to be able to, you can address rising obesity as a factual element of society and also not fat shame people. Addressing facts. I hate this conflation of, if we talk about a problem, it's somehow shaming people. We have rising depression. That doesn't mean I'm shaming people with depression or stigmatizing depression. I would like to bring these things into the light so that we can deal with them. And this is another, we have this tendency to want to flatten these nuanced problems and have it be this or that, when it's usually some combination of psychological, physical, societal, and there's not just a blanket answer for all of these things.
Yeah.
But we can't even have conversations anymore.
Well, you can have that conversation. You got naked recently, so obviously you got positive body image issues right there, very positive. You got naked prior to the election. And I didn't know if that pillow was going to fall out of the way or what was going to happen there. That was, What prompted you to do that video? Did you do one or two of those?
We did just one cut and then cut it up into a shorter
different
version
parts.
and we had a longer version. Yeah. That was in response to the naked ballots that the celebrities were all doing, where
Yeah.
they were telling people to just vote and how to vote, you know, how to fill out their ballots so that they weren't counted as naked ballots. And they were all naked in this video. But the thing that bothers me about all of those campaigns is the implied. You're not saying vote for anyone or vote independent. You are very clearly saying vote, in this case, for Joe Biden. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was more mocking the implied always undertone of vote this specific way.
Yeah.
That's it's like they don't say that quiet part out loud necessarily.
They don't
So
say
I
that
just
out
wanted
loud. Yeah, and that's the thing. And a lot of these NBA players and NFL players, you know, you see the commercials during a game, and it's obvious who they wanted you to vote for and who they were advocating for in a big way. And even though it's unsaid, you'd have to be a moron from another planet to not pick up on where these folks are standing on this. How do you feel? And I was watching one of your, I guess it's your most recent dumpster fire that you were talking about trusting in the institutions. What do you think about this entire election debacle?
Yeah, it's funny because being in the kind of wasteland of the center, as I've called it, for the past 4 years.
And by the way, let me interrupt you, Bridget. That's one thing I really love about you. I love the fact that you don't take shit from either side. You just give it the way you see it, and I appreciate that. I try to do that, but I come across too dogmatic, and I get it. But I love that about you. It's one of my favorite things, and probably everybody, if they're probably not listening to me right now. They're probably Googling Bridget Phetasy naked. But
they're gone.
Yeah, exactly.
They're long gone.
But I do appreciate that about you. So yeah, the wasteland of the middle in the center. I appreciate you coming from that perspective. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go back to it.
No, that's all right. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's been a journey for sure, being stuck in this kind of center, and people think that it's because I wanted to plant some flag and it's like my brand that I have to defend, when in fact I can see things from all perspectives. That's why I'm here. It would, if I believe in something passionately, like destroying Gavin Newsom, I will stand behind it, and I will be passionate about that and fight for it. But if it's something where I think there's so many Americans and I just don't like, I don't know. I've thought so much about this. I moved so much as a kid that I never really trusted groups. Groups of people always intimidated and or scared me because generally they were ganging up on me and making fun of me for being the new girl.
That's interesting.
So I think I just and you know what's interesting is most of the people I find who are in this kind of weird center zone, the more I talk to them about their history, they usually have some kind of history where they moved a lot, or they were in different places growing up a lot and were subject to different parts of the country or world and had to, I know that feeling of being kind of an outsider looking in very well into all of the systems. And I just think that people are losing the ability to see one another as just common humans. Yeah. And I think we should, there's a lot of money in keeping us divided as well, which bothers me, when there are other processes happening that we should be more concerned about just as a middle and working class, which is most of us in America. Well, and
that's crazy. And you're exactly right. I mean, what is your honest to God, transparent opinion about, everybody wants somebody to come down on a side. Yeah. And I think that's unfair, don't you?
I don't think, it's so crazy to me that for 4 years, and I'm not saying this to be like a victim or anything, it's just been interesting to observe people are bullying me to basically be a bully. They're like, use your platform to tell people you have influence. You can tell people, especially leading up to the vote, I was getting it so much like, you should be using this to tell people basically what to do or how to think. And I don't believe that, first of all, this platform arose basically because I was honest about my confusion and just noticing where I was self-censoring all over the place.
Yeah.
And secondly, I don't feel like it's my job to tell anybody really how to live their life or what's best for them or what they should think. I understand why people voted for Biden, and I understand why people voted for Trump. I just I know that might be something that is considered. I don't see how that's a like controversial or somehow. People always tell me I'm being contrarian by seeing both sides like that. Why is that the contrarian place to be in America right now? That's unsettling.
Yeah, hold that thought. I want to come back and talk about that a little bit more. We're with Bridget Phetasy and got another segment with her. Hey, I want to tell you something, guys. Millions of Americans, 3 former U.S. presidents, they got something in common. They all, including myself, we all agree Boll and Branch sheets are the softest and most comfortable pure organic cotton sheets on earth. Boll and Branch cotton is rain-fed pesticide. I don't know why I say pesticle. Why are you looking at me like that, Natalie? I mean, there's pesticles all over them. Pesticide-free and carries the highest organic certification. That's why it is so soft, because they work with family-owned mills all over the world to expertly weave every set of Boll and Branch sheets with the highest level of craftsmanship. It's quality you can feel the moment you open a box. And since they sell direct to you, Boll and Branch sheets start at just $160. They're $1,000 quality for a fraction of the price. Plus, you can sleep on them for a month risk-free. And right now, you're going to get $50 off a sheet set at bollandbranch.com with promo code CHAD. I spell it Chad. That's BOLL and branch.com. Promo code Chad. $50 off bollandbranch.com. Promo code Chad. Right back with Bridget Phetasy. All right, we're hanging out with our good friend Bridget Phetasy via, technology. We're hanging out. I want to be, Mark Twain, and I'm paraphrasing Bridget. Mark Twain said that nothing destroys travel like prejudice, and nothing destroys prejudice like travel. And that sort of goes back to what you were saying about moving all over, and people who find themselves always on the outside, they tend to see things from different perspectives. And they're a little more accepting of people's different viewpoints. They can see what motivated them to do that. And I could see myself that way in that regard, although I'm pretty dogmatic and about what I believe. But I'm not trying to proselytize anybody, right? I'm not trying to win anybody over. And I appreciate what you said about using your platform. But let's face it, there are things that we're passionate about, and there's things that piss us off. And I look at this election process, and I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists that says, yeah, this is a scam, this is a fraud, everything out there, got to recount everything. But I mean, obviously there's some room for error when we're using mail-in ballots for the first time. I mean, do you see fraud in any of this, or do you feel like this election is legitimate? Is it valid? Where are you coming out on all of these things?
What's interesting to me is that I look at what they're filing in court, the Trump administration and his legal team, and they're not alleging fraud, because they would go to jail if they were and didn't have any evidence for that. And I say this all the time. When Trump won, I wasn't necessarily excited, but I very quickly got into acceptance. I was like, okay, I need to accept this, or I'm gonna go crazy for years. Yeah. And I'm sober, and I can't be resentful and angry, or I'll drink over it. It's dangerous for me. And so I just kind of accepted it, and then watched as friends and family members went insane for 4 years because they could not accept the truth of what had happened. And they flaunted all kinds of conspiracy theories, which I had to talk them down off the ledge. They themselves said that at some point they were saying our elections were hacked by the Russians. And then And so I understand the frustration now, the same people who were saying this 4 years ago, to be like, our elections are perfectly safe. What on earth are you simpletons worried about? Like, come on, you got no self-awareness. But that doesn't mean that you should fall into that same trap.
Yeah.
Because I thought Trump was going to win by a landslide. And even talking to all of the centrists that I hear from, or the independents and the people, I have this email where people were emailing me their thoughts, and they were leading up to the election, and people were really torn.
Mm-hmm.
They were really torn between the two things that I've been torn by, which is, Trump is maybe not the danger that everybody thinks. And in many ways, I think he's done some good things and has been good in weird byproduct ways that are not of his any kind of intention.
Mm-hmm.
But he also has eroded a lot of trust. He likes to flaunt conspiracy theories, and I'm sure your audience will hate me saying this, but on the left, there's this rising insidious and authoritarianism, the wokeness, the thought control. This kind of stuff is terrifying to me too. And this seems to be a lot of people who are feeling this. And if the electorate is smart in trying to balance these things, they would maybe vote for Biden and vote red all the way down ballot, which kind of looks like what happened in many swing states in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the electorate was really smart and they tried to balance their fears. And, people are just tired.
Yeah.
People are tired of the constant drama. I grew up in a very dysfunctional household, and it is exhausting to wake up and be in that uncertainty, to not know, like, what is this guy going to say now? It can be unsettling. And if your own life is stressful, having to worry about this person that you have to think about every day, I think, and I said this leading up, I'm like, if Trump loses, it's because he beat himself. Like, the only person who can beat him is him. He cannot help being him, and he can't help getting out of his own way. He's so, he needs that instant gratification, and it's often to his own. It quite possibly cost him the election, just that need to fire off a tweet and not really have any self-discipline. It kind of wore people down.
Yeah.
So
do you have, let me ask you, do you have any, logical leftists? I mean, folks that they lean to the left, or they're dead on the left, but they've got some sense about them, right? And they've got some honesty about them. And I'm not just saying that. That's on either side. Just people who are willing to be honest, regardless of what side they pick. Do you find some folks who maybe voted for Joe Biden who kind of have a little trouble looking you in the eye at this point in time? Because let's face it, if a guy got more votes for president than any president in the history of the United States, if Joe Biden, of all people, Joe Biden, low energy Joe Biden, got more, that's something to be celebrated by the left, right? I mean, they ought to be excited. But what I find is my friends are like, well, what do you think about this election? It's almost like they're even hesitant to admit that he won this.
Yeah, I think obviously there's more, and I was saying this on Dumpster Fire, there's obviously, it's not impossible there were shenanigans. Do I land in the place where is it enough to overturn the election? Right. I don't know. That would be massive, like globally involved fraud of some level that we've never seen. And without evidence, I have to believe what I'm being presented, because otherwise I'm going into conspiracy, and I have to try and see. I believed the institutions when Trump won. I believe them now. Mm-hmm. I have faith in our electorate. I have to, because otherwise it gives you all kinds of reasons to subvert democracy in order to preserve democracy. And that gets us into a lot of trouble. But I can understand the frustration after 4 years. Yeah. And I think that, I wonder how many people are going to have like Biden remorse, mm-hmm. where they voted for him thinking that it was kind of the lesser. And then now, in particular, if they don't hold the Senate, mm-hmm. then that is a little terrifying to even me. To be totally honest, I didn't vote for a president. I voted down ballot, but I want to be inspired by somebody. I want to be able to get behind somebody who stands for what I believe, and neither one of these people represented that. And Joe Jorgensen didn't really, tickle my fancy, and I wasn't going to vote for Kanye as a joke because I do take this as something serious, and I would like to see just better options moving forward. But that's our responsibility as an electorate. That's on us.
And I've run into a lot of people who voted the same way, or didn't vote, but did vote down ballot, but they just didn't vote for a president. When in the hell did we get so interested in politics? I mean, at what point in time did all of a sudden this become such a passion for so many Americans?
I mean, I think that obviously 2015, I'm a pretty good representative of what I call the moron majority, which is, I think, people who just weren't. I was pretty apolitical, but came from the left and never really. I just voted blue. I never thought about anything. I never paid attention. This was interesting to me, seeing the way Californians voted, how they voted no, yes on 22, and they voted down the affirmative action bill. That I don't think would have happened if people weren't more engaged in politics and were paying attention to like every single prop and reading all about the different people and seeing how. I try to look at the positive. I think the silver lining, because when I was on Twitter in 2010, 2013, I was like, we should be using this for politics and more important things. And boy, do I regret ever saying that. But I do think we had a very apathetic voting population. And now I do think people are more engaged, and hopefully will lead to them being more informed. And because nobody really can believe anything that they see, they're having to try and inform themselves, which is dangerous, but hopefully people will be able to find news sources they trust, or at least a variety of news sources where they can then compare and contrast the different narratives kind of being spun. Yeah. It's so wild. We live in such wild times. I was saying this on Rogan, like there's so much migration, ideological migration, but also actual physical migration in the United States, that they're going to be studying this time for forever, for hundreds of years after, like what happened exactly in this moment. But I think and then you lock everyone up and all they have to do is pay attention to this. So now we have no sports, we can't go see live music, and places like California, it's a little more open where you are. You can't, you've taken away all of the entertainment, and we've made politics entertainment, which is also terrifying.
Yeah, it's a real shitty sociological experiment is what it is. Hey, folks, make sure that you're following at Bridget Phetasy. That's Bridget. Don't be adding the TTE on the end of it. Bridget Phetasy on Twitter. Have you made that switch over to Parler? Do you care about any of that stuff? I like Twitter, actually. I mean, I'm on Parler, but I like the back and forth that Twitter brings.
I like, I don't like what they do, but I also feel I am a free markets person, whether I like it or not. And I'm always kind of just happy to be there, I'm just happy to be here as long as I can be. And I think guys like Dave Rubin have done a great job in putting their money where their mouth is and coming up with alternatives where I feel safe. I have a presence on Locals. I've seen Parler. It seems fine, but I think people in Twitter like the Thunderdome. They like the banter. Yeah, I like when people push back. I like being able to see the opposite side and the opposite point of view. It makes me think.
There it is. Phetasy.com. Make sure you're following her, as well as Walk-Ins Welcome and Dumpster Fire. Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. We're going to do this a lot more. Hey, guys, if you notice that your hair isn't looking as full as it used to, losing your hair sucks. So I want to talk to you about a couple of options. You go to your doctor for hair loss treatment prescriptions, and you're going to go to the pharmacy, and your mouth's going to drop open because you're going to go broke trying to avoid going bald. I got a better solution. Go to Keeps.com. You can use Keeps from the comfort of your own home. Get the same doctor-recommended, FDA-approved hair loss treatment, but Keeps is going to offer the generic versions of about half the cost. And another thing you're going to love about Keeps, it's online, so you do it from home. That's right, folks. Just answer a few questions, snap a few pictures of your hair. Licensed doctor is going to renew your info and recommend the right hair loss treatment for you, and it's going to be shipped directly to your door. And you don't need to make the unnecessary trips to the doctor and spend the money at the drugstore. You can do it all from home. So I'm going to get you started with a great deal. Go to Keeps.com/loss. They'll give you 50% off your first order of Keeps hair loss products and treatments, and they're going to help you. I guarantee it. Keeps.com/loss. Keeps.com/loss. We'll be right back. Jaco, do you think it's possible for people to be in the center anymore? To be in the middle? Do you have to pick a side?
Imagine if you're laying down on the range and you're going to shoot something and I just move the target the whole time. That's what our country is doing. There's no center. Where's center?
Yeah.
It's moving all the time. And I would argue anybody above 50 today that would say they were Democrat, that party left them. That thing's moved so far left. I'd say whatever was center a while back, 10, 15 years ago, is probably deep into the more conservative lane right now, because we've moved left too as conservatives, if you really think about it. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about that we're fighting, it's on our hands.
Yeah.
We're talking abortion, prayer out of schools, all that stuff. It happened on our watch. We didn't show up. Historically, we didn't show up.
And yesterday, we observed the 57th anniversary of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy would not be considered a Democrat, and certainly not a liberal, by today's standards.
No way.
And Donald Trump has been a Democrat his entire life.
Most of his life, yeah.
And he's center left, if anything, especially socially.
Yeah. So what is center? I don't know that there is a center today. I mean, I guess you could somehow find and say, well, there's center, but it moves every day. It's moving every day. I mean, 2 genders, 400 genders, 5,000. There's just only 2, by the way, if you didn't know, Chad. There's only 2.
I have a wiener.
There's only 2, right?
Yeah.
You asked earlier, I always tell men, please stand up if you can push a baby out of your womb, and then we can consider you a woman. No, that can't happen. All right, so shut up, sit down. You're a man.
Yeah, wiener.
Grow a pair.
Hashtag wiener. Hashtag lockdown holiday. Hashtag I forgot what I was going to ask you.
Sidetracked on wieners.
Well, you start thinking about them, and that's the thing. But okay, no, I remember now. Do you feel motivated anymore just to get along with everybody? Like Joe Biden calls for unity.
No, but no. The unity he's calling for is not let's be Americans. The unity is come follow sheep.
Come bow down to me.
Come bow down. Come be a subordinate like the old peasants.
Yeah.
Some people live in the castle. The rest of you go grow wheat and grain, and we'll let you keep 10% and bring it up to me. No, I'm not. That's not unity. They don't want unity. He couldn't define true American unity if you paid him.
Well, and the fact that people don't see that's the scary part.
Right.
Yeah. That they don't see what's happening right before their eyes.
So we talk about America being a melting pot. You're a legal immigrant. You came here. You became a citizen of this country. You went through the process. You melted into, you absorbed, you acclimated yourself to the culture of being an American citizen. But now we got videos out there where you're asking, black Americans, well, what's superior about whites? And they're laughing about it. Why are you even creating that kind of division? We've got, folks who come over the border from Mexico or from Central America. And they want to make sure that they remain with their same identity, their same language, the DACA, the Dreamer, all these things. There's no melting pot anymore.
No.
So how can you have, that's not unity. That's when you truly melt together. That's oneness.
No, but you said it earlier. A people without vision will perish, right?
Yeah.
So it's one goal, one mind. Where are we going? I came here. I became an American. Yeah. I'm not a South African American. I lived in Canada. I lived in Toronto. They don't have a culture. There's no identity in Canada. You're Italian Canadian, you're Sicilian Canadian, you're German Canadian. You bring wherever you come from, you bring it in there, and then they have communities that live that way. It's like Chinatown in New York, right? Now, this is the United States of America. Here we speak English as our predominant number one language. Here we fear God and country. We have a constitution. We have rule of law. We're going to carry guns. We're going to defend our children. We're going to hunt down pedophiles. We're going to call Joe Biden and Kamala Harris crazy because of their behavior. I can measure behavior, right? No, there has to be, that's the unity you're talking about, the melting pot of, I'm an American. I better bleed red, white, and blue. It's what I have to do as an immigrant, right? I mean, this is what, but that's what made this country this country. That's why we're unique. This is not China.
Right. You're more American than half of this country's natural-born citizens.
I want to be accused of that.
Yeah, you are.
I really do.
And I
want to be
that.
accused of that. I mean, because I can tell you what it looks like when it's not like this.
Yeah.
I can tell you what it looks like when they steal your country. Seen it. I can tell you when they lie and they make everything about race. You said it earlier. Why is everything race? I always say this. Look who talks race first. That's the person that's got an issue with race. And it's not the right. It's not, baby. It's not. It's the left.
That's right.
They want to remind you because racism is taught.
Yeah. Steve does a lot of teaching.
Yeah.
Well, now everything's so blown up with COVID. Not that it's not serious, and the election and the race wars that we find ourselves in. We're not talking about issues like sex trafficking, like breast cancer awareness. That's gone. All these issues, the things that we were really fighting for as Americans, it's all lost in the mix now.
Yeah, but the real issues, you're talking about real issues. I always say this. Look, do I want President Trump in the White House? Of course. But whoever's president is not going to help your father who's going through cancer treatment today. There's real issues in people's lives. And if you look at America, the idea, the dream, and then the reality, it's that. It's families standing with families through real issues that's tangible. Not a movement tonight in the streets for someone else and you couldn't even defend it. It's really because I said this, after November 3rd, the guy's going through divorce. It doesn't fix it, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't fix it. Child sex trafficking. Where's the NFL right now with breast cancer? Where's the pink ribbon and the pink shoes now? Now it's Black Lives Matter shoes. I'm like, okay, all right, okay. Soon you'll see St. Jude will disappear. Because they don't care about real issues anymore. It's all up here 30,000 feet because they've got a plan.
That's right.
It's just like, no, come into the ditch. Come into the ditch.
Oh, Lord.
It's like Elsa calling, that voice in Frozen 2. It's a voice from the Black Forest.
It's like Pennywise in the gutter, which I'm ready to crawl down with his clown
Elsa.
ass.
Just follow the
tight.
voice.
We'll be right back. Jaco.
Sounds good, right?
Yeah.
It's like a search engine.
Where can people find you?
Jacopedia.
Jaco.com. Where can people find you?
Jaco.Booyens on Instagram, Twitter, JacoBooyens.com. Thank you. Come join the fight.
Yeah.
Come help us fight for children.
And that's something, and we don't have but just a second, but people aren't talking about those numbers. They want to talk about COVID numbers, but they're not talking about how many cases of missing children and
76,000 children trafficked in or through Texas daily per day.
That's a problem.
That's a real problem.
That's a real problem.
That's not a mask. Mask fixes that, Chad.
That
doesn't happen.
That's a different deal.
So I don't care that much about mask if you don't mind. I really care more about the kid that's being
Jaco, Jaco Booyens.com. Check him out. Go to watchchad.com where the fun stuff is. Lisa Page Made Me Do It on Instagram, and also Lisa Page Made Me Do It, which is one of the most incredible podcasts ever created. It's amazing. It's fantastic. Party Foul Nation, Beer for Brunch.
Number 112 in the food category.
Oh, look at you.
Come on.
Wait, we're moving on
in
up.
the food category.
In the food category.
That's an important category.
Yeah.
Now, that could fluctuate. From one day, it could be 112, and it might be 215 tomorrow.
Well, I encourage people to leave us a rating and review. Natalie Woods fell in love with James D. Natalie Woods, 22.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Just here for the party.
Yeah, of course. We love y'all. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow night. Goodbye.